Hey there. So in this bonus section, we'll be going through a Stripe integration. A Stripe integration meaning we'll be building a small minor checkout flow that will show you how to integrate Stripe payments into your application. Now, for this bonus section, we will be building on some of the concepts that we built on in the bonus Google integration in the Firebase section. We'll be using Firebase functions. And that means as well that you will need a paid Firebase account or to upgrade your Firebase account at least to a Blaze plan, which has a free usage tier built into it, but requires credit card information. And this is because we will be releasing a Firebase function for the checkout integration that will allow us to do our payment against Stripe in the test sandbox that they provide. Now, you can also just develop this Firebase function locally without deploying it to the cloud. But again, remember that if you're not deploying your Firebase functions, you're basically enabling your app only to work locally in the emulator and on your local machine. And that is very important to note here. Now, think of this feature this way. Someone in our company comes to us and they say, hey, for meals to go, we really like the meals need to be able to go. Like, people need to be able to buy things. And so the very first feature that they come up with is, how about if we ask every single restaurant to require a special menu item? We're just going to offer a special for $12.99 at every single restaurant that we load. Now, this is a bit unrealistic. Of course, in real life, you couldn't possibly hook up every single restaurant in the world, but let's imagine that we're further down the process of getting these restaurants on board. Every single restaurant has a special, and that special is $12.99, and restaurants are competing to get customers to order their special. Now, if you order a special, you'll order the special from that particular restaurant. If you decide that you want to switch it up and order the special from a different restaurant, you'll switch it over to a different restaurant. You can order multiple specials by going back and adding to the order, and that will change the total. When we fill in the name of the user, then we fill in their fake credit card information. And then if we add the expiry date and then the CVV code, we can then press pay. And if we press pay, a loading indicator will start. We'll disable the buttons and we'll see we successfully paid. Now, by successfully paying, we also successfully log this payment in the Stripe interface, as well as if we fail a payment, if we don't have certain information we try to pay, we'll get an error screen. And we're able to clear the cart just in terms of a very, very simple, a very straight to the point flow here that will be integrating Stripe payments. Now, that said, we'll be showing you how to integrate all of this. Hey, everyone. Before we dig too deep into this Stripe integration, I wanted to give us a small overview of something we've already seen, which is the way that our architecture works, because I want to give us the lay of the land before we get too deep in. So over here, we have our phone. And in this box, we have the architecture of our application, being that we have a navigation instance that bootstraps and visualizes the feature for us. We have styled system over here that helps us visualize the features, and our React context that talks to a service folder. And in that service folder, we have all these files that's main purpose is to go and talk to external providers. External providers being any number of services or servers that can provide us data. Now, for this Stripe integration, we will be building an external service the same way that we did for the Google bonus section. And we will be utilizing a Firebase function over here in order to feed our service with the appropriate endpoints that it needs to talk to, endpoints being places where we can send requests to. And the reason that we're going to be building that in a Firebase function is for security's sake. We want to build this with first principles in mind, being that we want to isolate the entry point to our payment provider, and the best way to do that is to build it as an external service. And the reason that we're utilizing Firebase functions is because they allow us to build and deploy servers quite easily. Now, same with the bonus Google integration. If you cannot buy a paid Firebase plan, you can still run this locally, but be aware that you cannot deploy it and use your app in a production-like setting because you are not deploying the function. Now over here in our service layer, we will be talking to these endpoints, subsequently feeding the requests and the responses back into the React context, back into the features, into the visualization, thus creating a checkout flow for us. And understanding this flow and understanding the way that we handle the overall infrastructure and architecture of our features helps us better prepare ourselves for the implementation path. And so now that we know that, and now that we know that this is extremely similar to what we've done on the Bonus Google side, what we can do now is go ahead and see, okay, what is our Stripe integration going to look like? What do we need to set up ahead of time? And where do we go from there?